Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club. And I don't know if you know where I am, but I'm up here at Port Stephens at Corlett at a resort named the Anchorage, which is an absolute cracker of a resort. And we have a magnificent autumn day up here as well. The sun's out, there's hardly any breeze, and it's just a beautiful way to express a Tuesday here on the mid-north coast. How beautiful. Look at that water. Look how still that water is. Look how peaceful and how calm it is. I just love coming here. I've been coming here for years. I've been coming to Port Stephens for at least 31 years. And I remember coming up here as a cadet when I was at school. I was probably about 14 years of age and falling in love with this area, and always saying to myself that one day I want to come back here and spend more time here. And so it is. I'm here this weekend making the most of it. Anyway, let's go on a bit of a walk and talk. I'll just walk around the rock wall here and go through a book summary. This is my fourth book summary today. I've been on a cracker over the past couple of days. I did 7 book summaries yesterday, and this is my fourth for today. But today's book summary is an interesting one. And that the book is entitled On Tyranny, talking about tyranny, talking about being bullied, having leadership which is really tough and imposing. And it's by an author named Timothy Sneider. And the author makes a pretty cool point to kick off the book, where he says that the more money you have, the freer the speech you tend to be able to enjoy. So we live in a rat race. We live in a world where we're challenged all the time, trying to achieve our freedoms, fighting for freedom every day. You know, we only just celebrated Greek Independence Day just the other week, where Greece celebrated its 200th anniversary of the beginning of the revolution. And it's a revolution that has been going for many years. And in order to maintain freedom and democracy, we just need to keep on fighting every single day, because the world is changing rapidly, and there are just so many pushes for power from all different angles, that in order to maintain your status quo means that you need to be fighting for your freedoms, for your birthright, right, every single day and every moment of your existence. So if you think that freedom comes and is your birthright and is your entitlement, then you need to be very diligent in doing whatever you have to do to maintain those freedoms, because there are people, there are groups, there are organisations, there are governments throughout the world who have a different idea, and their ideas are contrary, diametrically opposed in many ways to the ideals that were generated by the ancient Greeks 2,500 years ago. So what can we learn? What can we glean from this wonderful text? The author here talks about what I was just mentioning before, that globally we are entering a political era of authoritarianism, where authority wants to rule and wants to impose itself on people's sovereignty, individual sovereignty. So there's an economic war that is happening on a daily basis, and you can see it. It makes the news all the time. We can see that China is slowly but surely trying to impose itself on the key global markets. and doing it very, very quickly, I may add. And the basic principles of democracy appear to be deteriorating, and we need to be able to identify and assess the warning signals so that you can see what is happening in your own neck of the woods, so that you can take appropriate action to shore up, as we said before, what you need to do in order to maintain your sovereignty, your dignity, your democracy, and your freedoms. So what the author here talks about, and it's a good point, and I love it, is that if you want to maintain your freedoms, the first thing you need to do is to avoid the news. Avoid the news and spend more time reading empowering books. If you want to be smarter than the masses and not to succumb to the bullshit political agendas that are out and about in droves at the moment. The more news you listen to, the more you're going to be sucked into that vortex of negativity and political agenda, is the message which comes from this author. Because we are surrounded by a lot of noise, especially with social media, where you've got small groups, small, vocal, very, very active groups who are bullying the masses. Now you've got the tail wagging the dog, which is unheard of. But people are scared. People are scared to stand up for their rights, because what happens is that they get singled out. They get singled out, they get bullied, and they get gagged, I guess is the best way of describing it. They get gagged and they just go into their shell, and the war is won, I guess, for the gagger. So the other thing is that we are surrounded by a lot of noise and a lot of activity which trivializes everything, and we're forced to focus on trivialities. And all of these little side issues basically take us away from living our lives and living our purpose, because we spend a lot of time, a lot of energy is wasted on triviality, on rubbish that is worked up, built up into a vortex, built up into a storm that captures everybody and captures everybody's attention, and you end up worrying about things which have no eternal benefit, that don't lead you anywhere, don't create anything other than fear, uncertainty and doubt. So you've got to be careful of the people you hang out with. The people who create fear, uncertainty and doubt, the gaslighters of our social circles, the people who think they know everything and try and impose their pompous views on the rest of us, need to be kept at a distance, and a safe distance. And don't feel shame by shutting people down. Because if people are out there trying to change your mind or lead you astray or lead your family astray, then you need to be on top of it, and you need to be very, very sharp with your knife and cut as early as you can. So stay clear is the message here from groupthink. Learn to think yourself. Try and think for yourself, and the way we become better at thinking for ourselves is through diverse and reliable sources. The amount of bullshit that I see on Facebook, sources, these unreliable sources of information, these shreds of evidence which amount to nothing, that people just cling on to try and build a case in order to try and make themselves sound like an authority on on various issues, on conspiracy theories, is quite alarming. You know, people will pick up on one stray fact and use that as a basis to form an opinion and to shape other people's opinions. So it's important to stay clear of the riffraff, of the bullshit, and to spend time studying and reading on your own, making your own opinion, building your own opinion by using diverse but reliable sources of information. And videos with mechanized voices or digitized voices, or anything that is alarming, that creates fear, uncertainty and doubt, should raise the alarm straight away, because you know it's going to be something which is politically driven, has an agenda which is not going to help and empower you. So you need to be very, very cautious, I guess, is the bottom line. Because when you read a book, it gives you context, and it enables you to cover the many, many grey areas of a particular argument. But it's these grey areas and the context that the media avoid. And this is what causes the great issue, because the media, Facebook, Instagram, you know, the people who are loudest and most active on Facebook and social media are the ones who will pick a particular point and use that point to try and draw a long bow and come up with an argument which you know doesn't stand up the test of time and is completely out of context and doesn't cover the subject adequately. So we need to become rounded in our views, and the way we become rounded in our views is by understanding the context, understanding the full spectrum of challenges that we face, so that we're not sucked into just focusing on one or 2 points and forming an opinion, an important opinion based on a slither of reality. Because each and every one of us, and I've said this time and time again, live different lives. We've lived a different past, we're living a different present, and we're going to live a different future. And we all tend to base our opinions and our views, for those who are not widely read, on just our slither, our narrow slither of reality. But the importance of reading books, and lots of books, is that you form an opinion, you form a decision based on other people's experiences as well. And what you do is you corroborate what other people say with what you've seen and with what other people have seen, and you're able then to try and triangulate and come up with an answer, or with an opinion, or with a perspective that has some basis, that has some support. So something to think about. So the next point which comes out of this book is, got a few fish down here jumping out of the water. They're packing into a small group of bait fish, is that we need to be careful of the social barriers that our community have, and we need to keep up those barriers, keep them up and keep them safe. And that's why it's important for those who are Christians to be part of a Christian community which has the barriers in place, because it's through our connection with people, it's through our relationship with others that gives us our humanity and sets us apart. So the important thing is, according to the author here, is not to live life, and don't spend too much time looking at life through the prism of a device, through social media, through your iPhone. Take some time to give life its due desert and justify and save a life by trying to live it as best you can through your own eyes, through your own experiences, by talking to people rather than relying on the abstract, distorted views, which tend to make a play or tend to be very, very big on social media platforms. I don't know what happens, but people who are normally quiet, people who are reserved, people who didn't have much to say about anything throughout their lives, all of a sudden become alive with Facebook and social media and become soldiers behind the keyboard and become quite aggressive and quite abrupt and quite rude, trying to push their views. And I guess there are all these issues that we need to be aware of, and that to know that there is a silent majority out there who don't voice their opinions and don't listen to the crap that people talk about and are not party to the rubbish of conspiracy theories and all the other theories that people seem to come up with, which are fashionable, which seem to be fashionable at different times of our lives, and that people latch onto and all of a sudden find meaning in their lives. So it's important to make eye contact rather than just device contact. To make eye contact with the people around you. There you go, some eye contact. Oh, the sun's in my eyes. To make some eye contact, because tyranny, according to the author, tyranny loves division and loves social barriers. So when people set up social barriers, it's a way of just dividing people, separating people, and it's a divide and conquer. So once you're isolated, you don't have the strength that you have when you're connected in a group. And the important thing is to make sure that you're a part of different social circles where you bring diverse people together from different social circles, where you can ebb and flow, where you can exchange ideas, where you can take the strengths of other groups and use it to buoy your group, and vice versa, where you can also be the hope for other people who may be feeling out of place and disjointed. So the last point that the author makes here is that we need to watch out for the ways social media and the internet get you to give up your freedoms. Because the more we share, the more of our freedoms we give up. So we need to be careful with how much we share, because when you give out information, personal information, according to the author, we're actually giving up personal freedoms. So a powerful point that the author is making is to be careful or be cautious in terms of what you give up in terms of your personal freedoms, because the media, according to the author, preys on our affinity for gossip and conspiracies. Just think about it. You know, if you're a journalist, if you're somebody who wants to be popular, wants to be read, wants to be famous, what you want to do is to create stories that are going to be read, are going to capture people's attention. And the only way to capture people's attention is through conspiracy, is through gossip, is through creating fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Because that's when people want to read it, because what you do is you trigger the reptilian, the ancient brain, where people freeze, flight, or fight. And once you've captured that part of the attention, once you've captured that part of the brain, then people can't make rational decisions. They can't think straight or be consistent or decisive. They just get caught up in that fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And as we said, once you've got them hooked, then you keep them hooked. And that's what the media does. Because people are more interested on conspiracy theories than facts that are concrete. Because a conspiracy theory I don't know, generates excitement, generates emotion. And once you've got people hooked on feeling and emotion, then you've got them. And that's what enables you to get them coming back time and time again. Because of that, they become habitually connected, habitually hooked. They become dependent on your fear, uncertainty and doubt. And that's why each social circle has an uncle or has somebody who just loves to make other people fear, become uncertain and become doubtful. Because every time they do that, they become the authority within that group, and people see them as being somebody who thinks that they know what they're talking about, and rather than thinking for themselves, just go back and just take it hook, line and sinker time and time again, and they're sucked in for life. So don't relinquish your personal freedoms online. Don't relinquish your personal freedoms to people who love to spread fear, uncertainty and doubt, and become a thinker and use your critical thinking skills. So I think I'll leave it there for now. So thank you very much. I think I talked a little bit more than what I was expecting to talk today, but the location here is just so beautiful. You just can't help but express life, express the beauty that I'm experiencing around me. So let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable, stay excited, and most importantly, become a thinker. Don't get caught up in other people's groupthink. Spend more time reading from wide sources and reliable sources. One of the beauties of Jim's 5 a.m. Club is that I do book summaries. I do numerous book summaries every day where we pull out life hacks that we can incorporate in our lives and help us grow, develop and become better versions of ourselves. My motto is that we need to help each other by becoming the wind beneath our wings, where we can learn something new to get us through the morning, get us through the day, get us through our life, so that we too one day can live, learn and pass it on and help others around us understand their lives a little bit better and solve their many problems. Because we all get turns at having problems, we all get turns at grieving, and we all get turns at helping people get through their problems and get through their grief. Yassas, Vilakya from Jim's 5 a.m. Club on this beautiful, most beautiful autumn day up here at Port Stephens at Corlette, where I'm at the anchorage, and I look forward to coming to you again from a different location with a different message later on today. Vilakya again, take care and bye for now.